There was a lad was born in Kyle, but whatna day or whatna style, a dude it's hardly worth the while to be say nice wi' Robin. Robin was a roving boy, rantin' roving. Robin was a roving boy, we're rantin' Robin.
Okay, settle down, please. Welcome, one and all, to the 67th annual Prestwick Burns Supper. Due to current circumstances, unfortunately, we cannot invite you along to our normal club premises. However, we're going to attempt to do this virtually. And one thing that it does allow us to do is to invite a lot more people along than we would normally have. And to that end, we're going to invite our OIR folk club friends who have enjoyed some of the videos that we've put out dealing with burn stuff there. We're inviting them to come along and join in. So, without any further ado, let's proceed. I now call upon crony Tom McCrory to give us the grace.
Some hae meat, but canna eat, and some would eat, but want it. But we hae meat, and we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked.
As chairman, I'll now ask Fergus McTuchter to pipe in the haggis. The address to the haggis will now be given by crony Hugh McHale.
This address to the haggis was written in 1786 and is the first of Burns' poems to be published in a periodical, the name of which was the Caledonian Mercury, and was printed shortly after Burns arrived in Edinburgh. However, it may not have been written in its entirety in Edinburgh, and as a clarification to that statement, you should know that we are aware that the final stanza is more likely to have been written extempore during a meal in Mauchline in the house of his good friend John Morrison, who was a cabinet maker in that town. By way of an introduction, what is a haggis? Is it a beastie with two short legs and two long ones so that it can run round about the hills and stay away from folk that want to shoot it and eat it? No. A haggis is a mixture of minced mutton, suet, and oatmeal, stuffed into a sheep's stomach and boiled for a good wee while till it's cooked and ready to eat, just like this one here. There for your honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the pudding race, I've been them all you tak your place, pinch, tripe, or thern, weel are you worthy o' grace as lang's my ear. The groaning trencher, there ye fill, your hardies like a distant hill, your peen would help to mend a mill in time of need, and through your pores the dews distil, like amber bead. His knife, see rustic labour deft, and cut you up wi' ready slicht, without tension your gushing entrailed brick, like ony ditch, and Then, oh, what a glorious sight! Warm, reeking, rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, till tak the inmost, on they drive, till all their wheels swell kites alive, or bent like drums. They all get mad, just like to ride, brrrt, they think it hums. Is there that Irish French ragout, or Rolio that would stall a sou, or fricassee that would mak ye spew wi' perfect scunner? Looks doon wi' sneering, scornful view on sic a dinner. Poor devil, see him Irish trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shank, a good whiplash, his knee van knit. Through bloody flood of field to dash. Oh, how unfit! Oh, aye. But mark, the rustic haggis bed, the trembling earth resounds his tread, clapping his wally knee wi' blade, he'll mak it whistle, and legs, and arms, and heads he'll sned, like taps a thristle. Ye poors, for mak mankind their care, and dish them out their bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae skinking ware that jops in luggies. But if you wish a grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. Would you all please raise your glasses? There's one for you, and there's one for me for later. And toast the haggis. A haggis! Cheers.
And so now, cronies, ladies and gentlemen, guests and friends, the time has now come where you can actually pause this video and go off and enjoy your haggis, neeps and tatties, or whatever else you happen to have laid on in order to celebrate this particular day. We'll be back after the meal, probably full, probably bursting at the seams, but hey, it'll be good. We'll see you then. So it's at this point that the chairman would normally put in his remarks and tell you about all the things that have happened within the club over the past year. Nothing. What can I say? Nothing. Other than paying bills here and there, and but no meetings, no nothing at all, because this damned COVID thing has made life miserable for everybody. There is nothing more I can say about it other than I hope that you're still all safe and that you're all happy. Finding things to do in the lockdown. Plenty of time now to sit down with your books and burns and learn a few poems for when this damned virus passes eventually, as it will, and we can all then meet up again, and then we can enjoy maybe some recitation from your very good selves, or even a song or two. That would be grand as well. Anyway, as I say, we've had nothing really this year. We've had a couple of Zoom meetings really to talk about how we can try to move things forward. But until we get past the current situation, then I'm afraid there isn't a great deal that we can do. So that's it for the chairman's remarks. Hopefully next year we'll have a lot more. Thank you. We now have one of the most important parts of the evening, and that's the immortal memory. This evening proposed by crony Tom Clory.
Well, aye, a burn supper in COVID times, eh? Well, normally around this time of year and around the globe, there's hardly an hour of the day when a burn supper is not taking place somewhere on this earth. However, this year is the exception due to the global pandemic, with only virtual celebrations of the bard's birth like this video or even a Zoom supper taking place, as there is at the Burns Cottage in Alloway. I wonder what Burns would have thought about a Zoom supper, eh? I'm sure he would have embraced the technology, being a very astute and open-minded Scot. But he, like all of us, would have definitely preferred real human contact and meeting people, as we usually do at our annual Burn Supper, and enjoy ourselves pretty much. Well, I volunteered to do the essential part of the Burn Supper, the immortal memory. It is always a great idea to have it right at the start before the speaker gets mortaled and his memory goes. That's the main reason why it's so early in this video. Generally speaking, the proposer of the immortal memory will give you chapter and verse on Burns's life. I've done it that way myself. But tonight, I know you all have access to books, and if you haven't, then there's always Wikipedia and the internet. How do you think I came with this speech, eh? For anyone interested in finding out more on Burns, I would recommend James Mackay's biography, Burns, and Hans Hecht's book, Robert Burns, The Man and His Work. These are two excellent and authoritative Burns biographies. So, I'm not going to bore you anymore, I hope. But if there's one or two of you who would feel a little bit shortchanged, I will give you the kind of scholarship that I have heard at previous Burn Suppers. Right, here we go. Born 1759 in a wee shitty farm in Alloway. He goes to the Skill, then moves to a slightly larger, no less shitty farmhouse. Catches consumption and rheumatic fever. Works too hard in the fields at an early age. Moves to another shitty farm, full of marshy ground. The name Loch Lee gives a clue. His father dies. Then him and his brother Gilbert take a lease on Miss Gill from Gavin Hamilton. To cap it all, a volcano blows in Iceland and they have two shitty summers spoiling the harvest. He joins the Masonic Lodge and rubs shoulders with the elite gentry of Ayrshire. Meanwhile, he fathers the first of a dozen bairns with a kitchen maid. He gets censured by an old licht minister. He fails at the flax dressing in Irvine and loses all the money he had. Publishes a wheen of poems and cancels his ticket for Jamaica. Goes through to Edinburgh to see what the lasses are like there, if you get my meaning. Then checks out the lasses in a tour of the borders and samples a few on a tour of the Highlands. He gets hired to write songs for two Scottish song publications and then settles with Jean Armour in a shitty wee farm near Dumfries. He then joins the excise and oppresses all those who work in shitty farms round about Dumfries. And just a wee aside, if Burns had written his own autobiography, it probably would have been titled How Not to Be a Farmer. And finally, his wife gives birth to about a dozen, maybe 1,000 wains, and the last one is born while he's giving Whitford to his nurse on his deathbed. Burns dies on the 21st of July 1796 and he's buried 2 days later in St Michael's Kirkyard. His funeral is preceded by a military procession and as you can see from this, thousands of people turn up for his funeral. It's a sad day for Scotland. This is the kind of thing you're likely to hear at a burn supper, maybe a wee bit more eloquently put, but just as tedious if it goes on for so long. I remember at one particular rowdy burn supper, the proposal of the immortal memory went on for about an hour and a half, at which point one of the not so sober audience threw a bottle at him. It missed, but it hit one of the others at the top table in the head. This was unnoticed by the old windbag, who kept on talking. The injured man started to slide down his chair, but was heard to mumble, "Hit me again, Willie, I can still hear the old bugger." But what's most important for me is not how he lived, but it is his works and how in many of his poems and songs he manages to encapsulate the human spirit. You'll find this in many of his poems and songs. For example, To a Mouse, "He sleekit Curin Timiris Beastie." Epistle to a Young Friend, "I lang hae thought, my youthful friend, as something to have sent you, though it should serve nae other end than just a kind memento." Epistle to Davy, which you'll hear more of later in this video, and in songs like A Red Red Rose, of which Sir Walter Scott said contains the essence of 1,000 love tales. "As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry, till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run." Now, of course, when most of us hear that song, we think of a modern red rose, but Burns had in mind the dog rose when he wrote it. Robert Burns was a man who enjoyed company, like us. Unfortunately, not at the moment though. And many of his poems embody his observations of others. One of my favourites is about a creature all of us would avoid, and only Burns would use it to illustrate the inequalities and absurdities of a class-based society. To a Louse is not merely his observation of a wee beastie on a lady's Lunardi bonnet, with her dressed in her finery for Sunday service, but an insightful and thought-provoking comment on society of his day, and no less a comment on today's society. It was one Sunday while sitting behind a young lady in church that Burns noticed a head louse roaming over its domain in the bows and ribbons of her hat, and I assume her hair. Poor woman. Little did she know that she would, with her head companion, be the subject of one of Burns's poems on how we see ourselves and how we think other people see us. In the first stanza, he manages to portray how society is split between poor commoners in the shape of the louse, who are always hungry, and high society, who hoard their money and never share it with the poor. "Ha! Where ye gone, ye crowling fairly? Your impudence protects ye sairly. I canna say but ye strunt rarely. Our gauze and lace, though faith, I fear ye dine but sparely in sic a place." And then in the second and third stanzas, he mimics the affront of the lady to think she could be the target of something associated with poor, filthy commoners who never comb their hair. "Ye ugly, creeping, blasted winner, detested, shunned by sont and sinner, how dare ye set your foot upon her? Sae fine a lady, gae somewhere else and seat your dinner on some poor body. Swith! And some beggar's haffet squattle, There you may creep and sprawl and sprattle wi' other kindred jumping cattle and shoals and nations. Whar horn nor bane ne'er door unsettle your thick plantations. Burns also manages to poke satire at idiotic practices in high society. In the 18th century, people held that the application of mercury in the form of ingesting quicksilver, a wee aside, the name quack for a person without formal medical education but who is practicing medicine, originates from quacksilver, and applying mercury oxide was also commonplace in the form of a powder or ointment, and people thought it could cure a host of ailments including melancholy, constipation, syphilis, influenza, head lice and other parasites, you name it. Of course, only the rich could afford such treatments. My sooth, right bald you set your nose out, as plump and grey as ony grows it. Oh, for some rank mercurial rosette or fell rid smedum, I'd gie you sic a hearty dose o't, wad drass your drodum. The final stanza is Burns's comment on the situation. And who doesn't know this piece of sage advice? Oh, wad some poor the gift to gie us, to see ourselves as others see us. It wad frae money a blunder free us, and foolish notion. What airs and dress and gait would leave us, and even devotion. I could go on with many other examples of his genius, but there is more to come from others in this video, so I'll leave it to them. What I will say in conclusion is that the legacy he left in his poems and songs to the Scottish nation and to the world is rich and immense, and is a cornerstone of Scottish culture, and has shaped our awareness of our treasured national heritage. We can at least be proud of that. He'll hae misfortune great and small, but aye a hurt aboon them all. He'll be a credit to us all. We'll all be proud o' Robin. In finishing, I leave the last word to the aforementioned Hans Hecht. Hecht says in his concluding remarks, "The sun that rose over the churchyard wall in Dumfries was the sun of immortality. Let that sun of immortality continue to shine as you drink a toast with me to the immortal memory of Robert Burns." Robert Burns. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the immortal memory is the keystone of any Burns supper, and it sets the seal on the quality of the evening. The memory engages the poet and lays bare the man and his genius, and how using his gifts he made an impact on society. Tonight, Tom McCrory has delivered an excellent immortal memory, entertaining, thought-provoking, and once again establishing the power of the poet and his written word. We have much to absorb. Ladies and gentlemen, on your behalf, I thank Tom for an excellent immortal memory.
Now for a song. But just before we get to it, I must tell you a wee story that I heard recently. Old Sandy was lying in his deathbed, and his wife Maggie was sat alongside him, holding his hand. And she kind of spoke softly to him and said, "Is there anything I can get for you, Sandy?" Nothing. Absolute silence. So she leant a wee bit further and she said, "Sandy, is there anything I can get for you?" And then came back the wee murmur that said, a wee bit of you and boiled ham would be good, Maggie." She said, "Oh, wheesh, Sandy, you ken fine that was booked in for the funeral." What can I say? Anyway, this is a song by a chap called Jim Gray, who is a member of the Phoenix Folk Club, super guitarist great voice, and I'm sure you will enjoy immensely his rendition of the lyric.
When o'er the eastern star goes bedtime time is near my door, and now through the furrowed field returns the deaf and weary old, and by the burn the scented works reach you hanging clear my jaw. I'll meet thee on the lyric, my kind dearie, At midnight there in Marcus Glen I drove an Eberio, and through that glen I get to thee, my kind dearie. Although the night were ne'er sae wild, and I were ne'er sae weary, I'll meet thee on the lyric, my kind dearie. The hunter is the morning sun to rouse the mountain deer, my Joe, and in the fisher packs the glen I do the burn to steer, my Joe. Give me the hour of gloaming grey that marks my heart say cheerio, to meet thee on the lyric, my kind dearie.
So thanks to Jim Gray for that song, absolutely superb. And that's going to lead us nicely into Jim Gibson, who's going to give us To a Moose.
To a Mouse, written at Musgill, November 1785. Wee sleekit, coorin, timorous beastie, oh, what a panic's in thy breastie. Thou didna start a war sae hasty wi' bicker and brattle. A wad be laith to run and chase ye wi' murdering pattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies their ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubt thee whiles but thou mun thieve. What then, poor beastie, thou mun leave? A dayman icker in a thraves a small request. I'll get a blessing with a lave and never miss it. Thy wee bit hoosey too in ruin, it silly was the winds are strewn, and nothing now to big a new year no foggies green, and bleak December's winds ensuing, baith snell and keen. Thou saw the fields lay bare and waste, and weary winter coming fast, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thocht to dwell, till crash the cruel coulter passed out through thy cell. That wee bit heap o' leaves and stibble has cost thee many a weary nibble, though thou'st turned out for all thy trouble, but house or hold, to thaw the winter sleety dribble and Cranrick cold. But Mousie, thou art no thy lane, and proving foresight may be vain. The best laid schemes o' mice and men gan after gley, and leest nocht but grief and pain for promised joy. Still, thou art blessed compared with me. The present only toucheth thee, but though I backward cast my e'e on prospects drear, and forward, though I canna see, I guess and fear.
Next we have what's generally considered the fun part of the evening, where we have a wee contest between the lads and the lassies. And here to present first of all a toast to the lassies is crony Willie Gibson.
Well, good evening, and once again, many thanks for joining us.
That wee glance at his shirt, I think Willie's just realised he doesn't have his jacket on, which is really unusual for Willie.
In our most unusual Burns supper. In fact, just thinking, it's the first time I've ever delivered a toast to lassies when sitting down. I feel a bit like that character from the Hogmanay shows, the Reverend I Am Jolly, delivering a sermon. Ricky Fulton, fantastic. Don't know about you, but I don't think Hogmanay's been the same since Ricky left us. Fulton was due to go into the studio to film his sketches, but he had one of those raging toothaches when he woke up. A raging toothache, the type that Burns described, non-vengeance. But he managed to get an appointment with a dentist. Young dentist said, "No problem, Mr. Fulton." He says, "Unfortunately, it has to be an extraction. But I'll give you a jag, you'll not feel anything." "Jag? Oh, no, laddie. I'm going to do some filming. I can't have my face all swollen up." "No jag for me." "No problem, sir. I'll put this mask on and give you some gas. I'll be fine." "Gas? Oh, no, laddie. No. I need to have a clear head today." "No gas for me." "No problem, Mr. Fulton. I'll just give you this little Viagra tablet." "Viagra? Will that dull the pain?" "Oh, no, not really, sir. But it'll give you something to hold on to." Ricky Fulton, fantastic. With very shortly in the proceedings, you'll hear a reply to my toast from the lovely Isabel McCrory. But her husband Tom McCrory, as we all know, a very honest man, said to me, "Willie, she's cute, she's genteel, but be careful, she has her moments." He was telling the guys not that long ago, with this warning about she has her moments, he was telling the guys not that long ago, he's been happily married to Isabel for 12 years. They've been married 42, so obviously she has quite a few moments. From Tom, not from me. And Tom was telling the guys she likes to gossip to her pals about him, making fun at his expense. Particularly the story about the time Tom was in Cross House for a wee man's operation. Very delicate. And when Tom was recovering, he was in the bed, the nurse was giving him some attention to make sure he was comfortable. And he asked the young, lovely nurse, "Miss, nurse, are my testicles black?" "Sorry, Mr. McCrory, are my testicles black?" And she gently lifted the sheet, had a good inspection, gently lowered it down. "No, Mr. McCrory, everything's absolutely fine." And according to Isabel, he pulled back the mask. "Nurse, are my test results back?" That's the type of stories that Isabel likes to tell about poor Tom. Honest Tom, as we call him. And Tom was telling us as well that during the last lockdown, for 3 months, they were out, did nothing. He decided to get a little bit adventurous. And he says to Isabel, "You know, how do you feel about maybe spicing things up a wee bit? Maybe trying different positions?" And Isabel's response was quick. "Aye, Tom, I'm up for that. You get yourself up here behind this ironing board and I'll lie on the couch drinking malt whiskey and farting all night, Tom." As we keep saying in the club, poor Tom, poor Tom. But Tom got his own back. But only when the guys were there. He said to the guys, "You know, I'm jealous of Gibson. I'm really jealous of Gibson. Because Gibson and his partner, they sleep in separate beds. Gibson's bed's in Troon, and his partner's bed's up in Glasgow. I'm jealous of Gibson," he said. Anyway, despite that little bit of fun, a little bit of ribbon, if Burns was sitting here rather than standing here, he'd be saying to me, listen to all that. Having listened to all that, he'd say to me, Gibson, remember what I wrote in Green Grow the Rashes O. All nature swears, the lovely dears, her noblest work she classes o. Her apprentice hand she tried on man, and then she made the lassies o. So gentlemen and cronies, can I call upon you to raise your glass and join me in a toast? The toast that I give you is the lassies. We love them all, no matter where they are. The lassies. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for joining Prestwick Burns Club in this unique Burns supper. Thank you.
Just before we leave, Willie, here's another wee bit of fun coming in here. And this is something that he and a lady called Jane Brown, who is very well known within the Burns circles, dreamed up together and are about to perform. What can I say? Enjoy.
Love is like a melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, say deep in love am I will love thee still, my dear, all the seas gang dry.
Is that it? Is that it? A 40th anniversary? Nae candlelight dinner? Nae ruby 40th ruby necklace? Nae big bouquet? One silly wee flower?
Till all the seas gang dry and rocks now with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run.
Love me still? Did you love me still on Friday when you were at Moose Lodge playing cares till 2 o'clock in the morning? Did you love me still when you were in the golf course all day and the club all night on Saturday? Did you love me still when you were at the football all day and Sunday and all night? I didn't think so.
Say fare thee well, my only love, and fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my dear. Though it were 10,000 miles, though it were 10,000 miles, my dear, though it were 10,000 miles, and I will come again, my dear, though it were 10,000 miles.
Thank you, Willie and Jane, for that. It always makes me laugh, that one does. Anyway, next we have crony Isabel McCrory to give the reply to the lassies.
First of all, thanks for tuning in and welcome. Thanks for watching this video. We just thought it would be nice to bring you some cheer on Burns Night, and we all hope you enjoy it. And I am doing the reply to the lassies speech. And it's a good thing I am, because I've been on the committee and I'm for 4 years and I'm the only girl on the committee. So I really know a few things about all these men. And tonight I'm going to give you a few wee secrets. Now, Tom said dress down, and as you can see, I've got on a PJs. Do you like them? They're Minnie Mouse PJs. And of course, I've got on the club tie. He said you weren't to wear that, but I never do what he says. And I'm hoping you're having a wee drink with me. Cheers. So here we are. And we've had a great uplifting speech from Willie Gibson and a very funny sketch from Willie and Jane Brown. Tom and I did that sketch at our burn supper 2 years ago, and I have to say that I really enjoyed hitting him with the rose at the end. I'm sure you enjoyed it too, Jane. First of all, I want to say a wee bit about Tom. I'm really worried about him. He likes to have a drama or two every night before bed, and I'm thinking that at his age, maybe he's drinking just a bit too much. So I thought I would show him something. So I did a wee experiment. I got a glass of water and a glass of Johnny Walker Blue, his favourite tipple, and I got a worm from the garden. I said to Tom, come here a minute, I want you to watch this. I put the worm in the glass with the water and it just swam about. And then I took it out and put the worm in the whiskey, where it shrivelled up and died. So, I said to Tom, what do you have to say about that then? Well, at least I won't get worms. And then as Tom was clearing away the glasses, he said, do you think that when I die, I'll come back in my next life as a worm? Don't be stupid. What's the point of coming back as what you are at the moment? Maybe a slug would be a better idea. Now, what about that, Willie Gibson? Well, when he's not got on his dancing shoes, he's jetting off to the USA in Medicine Hat to show off what a great Burns aficionado he is. I'm awfully glad he did not come into this video with his ceremonial Indian chief's hat on. I hear he's been given a new name. Big Chief, knows a lot, Burns dancing feet. He wasn't always like that, you know. I met his primary teacher, Miss Mary MacLeod from Springburn Primary. And here she is, Willie. Hi, Willie. It's really nice to see you. And I'm thinking about all the happy times we had together, William, discussing Burns poetry. You were so attentive. You loved reciting Burns poetry and you loved all the Burns words. But I remember one day, behind the bicycle shed, I found you and Mary Ann. And poor Mary Ann, the tears were running down her cheeks. I said, William, what have you been doing to Mary Ann? Oh, miss, I was only showing her my wee coor and timorous beastie. And it was a good thing for you that Mary Ann piped up with, oh, miss, I'm no greeting. I'm just laughing my head off. Well, there's one more I'm going to tell you about, and that's Jeff the chef gun. I don't know if you know this, but Jeff and Ruth got together later in life. Maybe that's got something to do with the way he cooks all the meals. Ruth says he wears one of these tall chef's hat and a wee silly apron. And Ruth also says he sings while he cooks. I could believe that. He's just like that chef. What's his name again, Tom?
Ethan Gordon Ramsay.
No, that one. The one in the Muppets who cooks and sings like this. Only Jeff sings like this. Paper roses, paper roses, while he's stirring the soup. Now, here's the thing. Ruth says that if Kelly wins, she eats like a queen. Fillet steak, roast chicken, salmon. But if Kelly's no doing very well, it's mince and tatties and lentil soup and mere lentil soup. And I said to her, Ruth, that sounds okay. But she says, Izzy, Kelly hasn't won for weeks. So that's all we've been eating. Mince and tatties and lentil soup and mere lentil soup. And that's why I needed to walk 100 miles. I had to get out the house with him farting everywhere and making terrible smells. But in a way, it's quite good because see that lentil soup diet? I'm getting jet propelled round that course and I'm walking it in half the time. I'm thinking now we need to get back to Robert Burns. Cheers, Robert. What a man he was, and what a fantastic poet and songwriter. The words he uses had great meaning. They're the old Scottish words, just brilliant, so lyrical, toozled, blutered, shach, dricket. Another word which Burns used quite a lot, and one that I think we should all be using at this time is Hugh Magandi. And I'm going to say it again. Hugh Magandi. What a great word. You see, I read in the papers that because of the bad news and the way things are going with the corona, nobody is getting any SEX. Nobody at all. But I've got a theory. See if we were using the word Hugh Magandi, we would all be getting loads. Just imagine what usually happens on a Saturday night. Had a wee Chinese, watch Strictly. Then Tam turns to me and says, "Hey, Izzy, what about a shag?" What a turn off that word shag is. A shag! A shag! 'Cause you ken I ken what a shag is. A wee bird sitting on a stone, jumps in the water and jumps out in 2 minutes, catches the fish. And I'm no wanting that wee bird in and out in 2 minutes. I'm no wanting that wee shag. I'm wanting the full Malloy. I'm wanting Hugh Magandi. Anyway, I've been quite sad about this, so here's a wee poem to end it. It's called Izzy's Lament. You used to be so handsome, with your hair as black as jet. Now you're bow-kneed, humpy-backed, and old wee wizen get. You've nae teeth, you canna see. You're deaf as deaf can be. The indignities of ageing mean you have to sit to pee. You're craggy and you're cranky. You would argue black whiz blue. Most times in the morning, you smell just like a coo. Your hair is white. Oh, what's left of it? I think you're getting old. You'll know put on the heating when I tell you that I'm cold. We used to lie in wild abandon beneath the moon's bright beams. But sad to say, Hugh Magandi is but a distant dream. But in this time, ladies and gentlemen, of lockdown, we can all make our dreams a reality. So ladies, start mentioning that word, that special word, Hugh Magandi, to your partner. You never know what'll happen. Well, cheers. I guess we can't get away from the fact that we all need each other, even if it's just for a cuddle. And we need the laddies as much as they need us. Here's to the laddies. Cheers. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Isabel. Next along the way is a local lass, Auchinleck originally, and lives up that way still. She's become quite a renowned poet here in Ayrshire and further afield. Books are available at the Burns Museum and in various other bookshops around about. Her name is Tracy Harvey. If you've never come across her before, enjoy. This is one of her own poems. It's called Breeks.
Mine, and it's called Breeks, but I think Robert Burns would like it. And what it's about is how a female's choice of underwear changes throughout the lifespan. So as a wee lassie, your mammy dresses you on nice and cosy, and your big blue breeks to go to the school, and then as you get older you start dressing to show off your assets and attract the love or loves in your life, and then as you get a wee bit older you come full circle and you end up back in the great big huge comfy breeks again. So this is called Breeks. Navy blue skill breeks, away to the primary school, hacked up like a wash house spigot. Bra breeks, Christmas breeks, breeks adorned with bows, breeks for each day of the week. Toasty and terry toweling, rigged up to your Oxter breeks. Haud up your tights breeks, tuck in your simmet breeks. Fresh coating, been out in the rope breeks. Haud me down, maybe no even your ain. Breeks drive you in the ben, hit to put them out your bahookie when nobody's looking. Breeks, bing, the elastic breeks, breeks to let the air in. Clean, just in case you get roped down. Breeks. Big lassie breeks, match your bra breeks, high-legged breeks, bikini breeks, breeks with nae VPL, lift your cheeks and make you look like Kim Kardashian. Breeks. In case I get lucky. Breeks. Racy, lacy, toty, wee breeks, one-piece bodysuit fastened between the legs. Breeks. French knickers to match my camisole top. Breeks. Oh, right up the shock of my arse. Breeks. Pure white, butter wouldn't melt in my mouth. Wedding night. Breeks. 10-year merit, been to Ann Summers' party. Breeks, silky breeks, satin breeks, G-string breeks, thong breeks, suspender breeks, crotchless breeks, show off your sequin, vajazzle breeks, match your furry handcuffs breeks, velcro fastening, rip them off with your teeth, breeks, vibrating breeks, breeks you can eat. Thong higher than your low-slung jeans, breeks, rolled in, and your bump, breeks, haud you in breeks, belly warmers, don't even think about it, breeks, all the same colour, the grey, breeks, need 2 pegs to hang them out in the rope, breeks, what's that stuck down the inside of my trouser leg? Oh no, it's yesterday's, breeks. Haud up your tights, breeks. Tuck in your simmet, breeks. Tuck in your breasts, breeks. A way to draw your pension, hacked up like a wash house spigot, breeks. A change of breeks. Breeks for the hospital. Bloomers. Thank you.
Once again, Tracy, thank you very much. That's just brilliant, brilliant stuff. I should say to the company here that Tracy has been booked for the Reply to the Lassies for our Burns Supper in 2022. Can you wait? Our next performer tonight is Pat Lappin to give us a song. Pat has been a founder member of the Phoenix Folk Club. We see him regularly at the OIR Folk Club, and he's known to many of you here and now. So here's Pat with Lazy Lindsay.
You all know it, Lazy Lindsay, Elizabeth Lindsay, and Lord Ronald MacDonald. Join in the chorus, please. Will ye gang gang into the hills, lazy Lindsay? Will ye gang into the hills with me? Will ye gang into the hills, lazy Lindsay? My bride and my darling to be. Would ye gang into the hills with you, sir? Well, I dinna ken how that may be, for I ken no the land that you live in, nor ken I the lad I'm gan be. Oh, lazy lass, ye maun ken little, if so be that ye dinna ken me. For my name is Lord Ronald MacDonald. I'm a chieftain no high degree. So will ye gang to the hills, lazy Lindsay? Will ye gang into the hills with me? Will ye gang into the hills, lazy Lindsay? My bride, my darling to be. What if ye be the Laird o' MacDonald? Now a great ane I ken ye maun be. But how can a chieftain say Macbee think o' a poor lassie like me? She has killed turncoats of green satin, she has killed them up to her knee, and she's off with Lord Ronald MacDonald, his bride and his darling to be. She has gone to the hills, has lazy Lindsay. She has gone to the hills with he.
And now I'm pleased to introduce once again Jimmy Gibson with Epistle for Davy, an extract.
Epistle to Davy, an extract. While winds frae up Ben Lomond blaw, and bar the doors wi' driving snow, and hang us out the ingle, I set me down to pass the time, and spin a verse or twa o' rhyme and hamely westland jingle. While frosty winds blow in the drift, ben tae the chimla lug, I grudge a wee the great folks' gift, that live sae bien and snug. I tent less and want less, their roomy fireside, but hanker and canker to see their cursed pride. It's hardly in a body's power to keep at times frae being sour, to see how things are shared. The best o' chiels are whiles in want, while coofs and countless thousands rant, and ken nae how to wear it. But Davy lad, ne'er fash your head, though we hae little gear, we're fit to win our daily bread as lang's we're hale and fair. Mair speerna, nor fearna, old age ne'er mind a fig, the last o' it, the worst o' it, is only but to beg. To lie in kilns and barns at e'en, when banes are crazed and blood is thin, is doubtless great distress. Yet then content could make us blessed, even then sometimes we'd snatch a taste of truest happiness. The honest heart that's free frae all intended fraud or guile, however fortune kick the ball, has aye some cause to smile. And mine still, you'll find still, and comfort this nae small, nae mair then we'll care then, nae further can we fall. But though like commoners of air, we wander out we know not where, but either house or hall, yet nature's charms, the hill and woods, the sweeping vales and foaming floods, are free alike to all. In days when daisies deck the ground, and blackbirds whistle clear, With honest joy our hearts will bound to see the coming year. And brace when we please then, we'll sit and south a tune, sign rhyme it till we'll time tilt, and sing what we hae done. It's no in titles nor in rank, it's no in wealth like Lunnon Bank to purchase peace and rest. It's no in making muckle mair, it's no in books, it's no in lear, to make us truly blessed. If happiness hae not her seat and centre in the breast, we may be wise or rich or great, but never can be blessed. Nae treasures nor pleasures could make us happy lang, the heart's aye the party that makes us right or wrang.
And now we come to the final part of the evening, where it's my pleasure to thank all of our artists and performers for their contribution to the evening's ongoings. So, to start with, Tom McCrory, who gave us the Selkirk Grace. Hugh McHale, who gave us the address to the Haggis, and fine address it was, thank you. Tom and Willie and Isabel for the main speeches of the evening, those being the immortal memory, the toast to the lassies, and the reply for the lassies. All excellent, all excellent. Jim Gray for his song, very, very good as well. Jimmy Gibson for the poem. Willie and Jean Brown for the wee bit fun, and I've got to tell you, seeing those rose petals fly across the room at the end always makes me laugh. Thank you very much. To Tracy Harvey, whose poem also made me laugh, and most of her poems do because they're good. There are a few serious ones, but the majority of them are just joy to listen to. Thanks again, Tracy. To Pat Lappin for his song, and finally to the whole committee of Prestwick Burns Club, without whose efforts tonight would not have happened. But a special thank you to Tom McCrory. Without all of his efforts, editing, splicing, chivying us to get videos made, correcting us when we get them wrong and making us redo them, for all of that effort there, thank you, Tom. Again, none of it would have happened. You would not have enjoyed the past hour or so of an evening without Tom's efforts in there. Well done, sir. It finally just remains for me to say stay safe, and hopefully all of the pandemic that we've enjoyed or not this year will have disappeared by this time next year. And come 2022, we'll be able to enjoy our 68th annual Burns Supper in our club premises, where we can all enjoy our company and what goes on at that point. So, thank you. Hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. All that remains, should all the acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, should all the acquaintance be forgot for auld lang syne, for auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll tak a cup o' kindness yet for auld lang syne. And here's a hand, my trusty friel, and gie's a hand o' thine. We'll tak a richt get wally walk for auld lang syne. For auld lang syne, my dear, for auld lang syne, we'll tak a cup o' kindness yet for auld lang syne.